Okay, hello. Mark Pinto here with you at Phoenixville Public Library. Welcome to today's Zoom and direct from here in Harrisburg, right there, George, in
Absolutely.
that area. We have George Dillman from the Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities for a presentation that he could probably update probably just about every day because there's something new that comes along every day, I would imagine, in the area of scams. If all of these scammers would could devote their energies to something positive, the world would be a much better place.
Much better place.
Yep. So
Yeah.
George, thanks so much for doing this for us. And oh, folks, hold your questions until the end. And at the end, we'll stop the recording, and then you can feel free to unmute or type your question in the chat. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. George, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation on popular scams and how to avoid them. Again, as Mark said, my name is George Dillman. I'm the Consumer Outreach Specialist with the Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. Our agency regulates those industries in the Commonwealth. If anyone ever has a question, a problem, an issue, a complaint as it relates to those industries, they can certainly reach out to us, and I'll have contact information at the end of the presentation. So every day people get scammed out of thousands of dollars by professionals, right, with the finger quotes, looking to separate them from their hard-earned money. This presentation will introduce common scams, what to look for, and how to avoid them. Did you know that according to the FTC, consumers reported losing more than $5.8 billion to fraud in 2021, an increase of more than 70% over the previous year. And we just continue to see this climbing. Could continue to see this climbing. So we have to be more and more careful. This is what we're going to talk about today: top scams, what to look for, how to avoid them, how to protect yourself, and resources and where to go for help. But first, we all know it. If it sounds too good to be true, probably is, right? We all know it. Never hurts to remind ourselves every so often, because somebody comes across with somebody, we get caught on the wrong day at the wrong time in the wrong frame of mind by this so-called, maybe this great investment opportunity somebody has, and next thing you know, we're scammed out of thousands of dollars or more. People have been scammed out of their entire life savings. So we have to be careful, and it never hurts to remind ourselves on a regular basis about this. So we have the scams divided into categories. And the first category we're going to look at is what we call the heartstring scams. These are scams that tug at our hearts. The story elicits an emotional connection that the scam artist uses to convince us to give up our money. We're going to take a look at the top three: romance scams, charity scams, and relative and distress scams. What are the connections that is between instant buy-in? There's a instant connection or a trust or a buy-in, and some type of an emergency. We're going to take a look at the romance scam first. I read two articles that said the top money-making scam in 5 states in this country, including the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is the romance scam. And whether it's us or somebody that we know, chances are, if it's not us, there's people that we know that are out there using these sites, using the dating websites. We have dating apps, and social media is becoming dating platforms now. We have to be careful. We have to alert people that we know to be careful with this scam. One of the reasons it's the top money-making scam in the Commonwealth is it's a popular reload scam. What is a reload scam? That's where the scammer keeps coming back for more money, and they'll continue doing it. I kind of equate reload scams to fishing. Somebody who likes to fish. Say I like to fish, and I go on and I find myself a good fishing hole, and I catch a lot of fish. Next time I want to fish, where do I go? Back to the same fishing hole, right? And I keep going back until they stop biting or it's all fished out. Bringing it back to the reload scam, the scammers will keep coming back until you realize this is a scam and you stop sending them money, or you're all fished out. People who have lost their entire life savings to this one scam, as well as other reload scams that we're going to talk about. So we really have to be careful. We have to alert other people that we know to be careful about this. Signs of a reload scam: someone you just met falls madly in love with you. That person has an emergency and no access to money. They want to talk in a less public forum like cell phone or email. What can typically happen is somebody goes on to, say somebody goes on to one of the dating sites, the dating websites. They build a profile. Somebody reaches out, lo and behold, oh my God, what are the odds our profiles match perfectly? You know, the perfect match. You like this, I like this. You like that, I like that. For those of us who remember the song, you like pina coladas and taking walks in the rain. I like pina coladas and taking walks in the rain. So automatically an instant connection. They, as quickly as they can, they try to get the person, what I'll call the victim, to switch to a less public platform. Hey, let's send private emails. Let's go on WhatsApp. They try to, in some cases, they try to get you on an untraceable site for them, like WhatsApp. But they want to stay under the radar, and they want to get off that platform and on to a less public platform like personal emails, text messages, things like that. Few exchanges of information. After a few exchanges, they fall madly in love with the person, right? Oh my God, you're the person I've been looking for my whole life. When I'm back home, by the way, forgot to mention this, but big red flag with this scam: the person reaching out is never right down the street or in the next town or maybe down in the Philly area, where you could go meet them someplace halfway between for a cup of coffee or lunch and have a chat and see if this is a true connection for you. The person in the scam reaching out is always in another state, or what's popular now is they're in another country. They're working overseas on a government contract for the next 6 to 8 months, or they're doing volunteer work overseas for the next 6 to 8 months, or they're serving in the military for about that amount of time. It's always a short enough period that in no time at all they're going to be back home, with their new romantic partner, together forever, and so on and so forth. But it's a long enough period of time they can do some financial damage. So again, after just a few exchanges, they fall madly in love with the person, and now we're in a romantic. We're emotionally connected. We're in a romantic relationship now. It's not long after that the emergency happens. They're in a situation, they don't have access to funds. Maybe they're doing that volunteer work overseas in some third world country where they don't have access to their huge bank account they probably tell you about. And they get you to send them money probably with the promise that once you're together forever, they're going to pay that money back, and so on and so forth. So the emergency comes up, the person falls for it, they send the money, and then it's not long after that, something else comes up, and then something else. And again, just like the person who likes to fish, they'll keep coming back until until you realize it's a scam. You're not going to be together, and you stop sending the money, or again, you're all fished out. People who have lost their entire life savings to this one scam. So we have to be careful. How do you avoid a romance scam? One thing we could do is copy the picture that they send into like a search engine, like Google search. Do a search on the photo, and if the photo pops up in a number of different places, like in ads, magazine ads, online ads, and things like that, then it's a stock photo. And then you have to question, why did they send me a fake photo rather than their actual photo? Search their name. Do a Google search on their name, see if there's anything out there about them online that would tell you not to do this. And bottom line, we really don't want to send money or other valuables to someone we haven't even met in person yet. We're in this romantic relationship, we haven't even met face to face with the person we're in the relationship with, and we're sending them money or valuables. So we don't want to do that, at least until we meet this person and know it's a real match, so to speak. Charity scams. A lot of people, a lot of charities out there people like to give money to. There's some that I like to give to. There's fake charities out there as well. We have to be careful. We have to be careful. And a lot of times they'll fake the charities one of two different ways. They might create a charity that sounds so close to an actual charity, you think it is that actual charity. This might not be the best example, but it's the one that I use. Please give to the United Your Way Fund. Please give to those who need help. Not United Way, United Your Way. But if you make it sound close enough to the actual charity, you might think it is, and especially if you donate to United Way. Oh, yeah, here you go. I donate to you all the time. So we got to be careful with that, or the made up charities, the ones that are made up to just to tug at the heartstrings, right? Please give to the United Disabled Homeless Veterans of America Fund. Please give to those who gave their lives. They say, oh my God, how can I not give to disabled homeless veterans, right? So we have to be careful with that. We need to check them out. But signs of a charity scam, they're unwilling to send information about the charity in writing, and that could be one way to put the brakes on donating money to them, at least initially. Ask them for information. Tell them, hey, you're on the phone with them or even in person. Hey, this sounds good, but I don't do anything until I have something in writing that I can look through, I can peruse. And if I decide I want to donate to your charity, then I'll donate to your charity. Chances are, if it's a fake charity, they don't have anything in writing. So that could put a stop to it there. And just the fact that they don't have anything in writing could be a big red flag. They earnestly oh, I'm sorry. The phone number they're calling from is different than what you find on the internet, or the email that they're using. Gee, why is this person using a personal email like Gmail rather than the organization's email? They earnestly push you to send money right away, or to hand it over right away. With scammers, they're looking for one of two things from us as quickly as they can before we even have a chance to think about it, right? They catch us on the wrong day at the wrong time, wrong frame of mind, but they either want money or personal sensitive information. And I think we all know why they want the personal, in some cases, they want the personal sensitive information because that leads them to money. So we got to be careful. And again, they're pushing for us to send money right away. Big red, you have to question that. How to avoid charity scams? Search the name of the charity on the Pennsylvania Department of State's database. First of all, we can ask around, do our own checking and looking into this. Google the name of the charity online, and after you type in the name, type in scams, complaints, or both. See if anything pops up. We can also search through the Pennsylvania Department of State's database. Pennsylvania Department of State has a list of licensed, registered, basically legit charities operating in the Commonwealth. If you don't find the charity on the list, it's probably not a legitimate charity, probably a scam. Never send money without first confirming its authenticity. Again, make sure this is a legitimate charity before we donate any money to it. Ask questions like, how much of my donation goes to the organization? Know that it's never 100%. You start asking questions about the charity, and they're hemming and hawing and they're struggling to come up with answers. Chances are they're trying to make them up as they go along. So that could be a big red flag as well. All right, and finally in this category, the relative in distress scam, sometimes known as the grandparent scam. And there are variations of this as well. For example, my father and his wife got an email from a good friend of theirs, and he was over in Europe on vacation, and he lost his return plane ticket home, lost all of his money. Can they please send him $800 so he can get a return ticket, and he has some money to survive until he gets back, and then he'll repay them when he gets back home. They were about ready to send the money until my father said, well, wait a second, maybe we should give him a call and check this out. They give him a call. Where is he at? He's nowhere near Europe. He's at home watching television. Apparently somebody hacked into his email account, hijacked his entire email contact list, and everybody on the list got this email. Unfortunately, several people sent the money. But the version we have here is the one typically happens, especially to older folks who would have grandchildren, grandchildren. Again, relative in distress, or the grandparent scam. Your family member calls with an emergency. They want you to send money, usually by wire or gift card, and they swear you to secrecy. How it can typically happen, I get a phone call, Grandpa, it's me. And a lot of times they don't give a name. They don't have a name. Johnny, is that you? They wait for you to give a name. Johnny, is that you? Yeah, Grandpa, it's me, Johnny. Well, gee, son, it doesn't sound like you. That's because I was in an accident, Grandpa. My nose is broke. I'm down in Georgia with a group of friends. And just like the romance scam, they're never right down the street or in the next town or 2 towns over where you can go help them in person. They're always in another state, or like with my father and his wife, in another country, supposedly. When I'm in Georgia with a group of friends, we were in an accident and I was driving, and the cops say the accident was my fault, and I'm in jail and I need $1,000 bail to get out. Can you send it? Can you send it right away? I'm in here with a lot of bad people, and please don't tell my parents about it. I don't want them to work. And that's kind of how it can work. And they get the grandparent all flustered and they want to send the money. They got to get their grandchild out of jail. And now, as Mark and I were talking earlier, what we have to really be careful with, especially with this, using it a lot, I think, with this scam, they can get a clip with our artificial intelligence. If they can get a clip of your child or grandchild's voice, they could use that to make it sound like it actually is the grandchild. Do you really believe it's your grandchild? So we got to be careful with this. One thing we can do is, ask questions. Ask questions only your child or grandchild would know. What if this is my grandson Johnny? What's your older brother's name? What's your younger brother's name? What's your dog's name? Haha, trick question. You don't have a dog. Ask them questions only your child or grandchild or relative or friend, in some cases, like with my father, would know. Call the family member on a number that you have. See if you can put Johnny on hold and get, maybe, Johnny, I got something boiling over the stove. Let me put you on hold for a second. And then you call Johnny. Or now with these smartphones, heck, we could be talking to Johnny, and at the same time, we could be texting Johnny to see where he's at and see if this is really him. Chances are not. And we can confirm that Johnny's safely at home or out with his friends, whatever teenagers are doing, nowhere near Georgia with a group of friends. And also, finally, don't answer calls from unknown numbers. Legitimate calls will leave messages. So if you don't know the number, let it go to voicemail. And again, if it's a legitimate call, they'll leave a message. You can get back to them. Moving on to our next category, banking scams. Scams involving financial institutions center around attempts to access our deposit accounts. Once you sign your name to a check, you may be on the hook for the loss. And again, we're going to take a look at the top three: counterfeit checks, pay upfront scams, and overpayment of items purchase scams. What are the common themes? They appear authentic, they build on trust, and there's an immediate action required. We're going to take a look at the counterfeit checks and the overpayment of items purchase scam together. They're very close, so close that it's basically the same thing. Signs of a counterfeit check scam: you were not expecting a check. You received a check from someone you do not know, and the check is written for more than it was supposed to be. And I always explain this one with an example. Say I'm selling a used car. I'm selling a used car on Craigslist. I want $8,000 for this used car. Somebody reaches out to me, and lo and behold, this is the exact car they're looking for. The same make, model, year, color, mile, everything. Everything. They don't even want to come and test drive the car. They want to purchase the car. Hey, I hope it's okay me sending you the old-fashioned check. Can you hold the car for a couple days till I send it to you? Absolutely. Send me the check. Blah blah blah. So a couple days later, you get the check in the mail. The check is written out for too much money. It's written out for $10,000 rather than $8,000. You either call them or they call you, and maybe the story goes, "Oh, gee, I'm sorry. I was looking at several cars. I sent you a check for too much money." I'll tell you what. Why don't you, rather than ripping up the check and waiting for me to send, waiting a couple more days for me to send another check, why don't you just go ahead and deposit the check? But could you wire back the extra $2,000, right? I could really use that money back. Could you wire it back to me right away? And already I think most of you know where this is going. So the person falls for it, they wire back the extra $2,000. And then a week or so later, when the check doesn't clear because it's a fake check, they're now out $2,000 or whatever the person can get from them. How to avoid a counterfeit check scam or overpayment scam? Don't accept a check from someone you do not know. Verify the information and the institution is written on before you deposit it. And if you go ahead and deposit it before you do that, I know what I would do. I get that call asking for me to wire back that extra money. Absolutely, I'll wire back that extra money the minute this check clears. Guaranteed you won't hear from them again. Moving on to pay upfront scams. So we have three different types we're going to talk about. Signs of a pay upfront scam. In order to get a prize, a loan, or some other payment, you must pay fees. Promises that the upfront fee is fully refundable if you're not 100% satisfied, and you receive the request from someone you do not know or have no connection to. We're going to take a look at the first one, the prize. The probably the biggest one, the most popular one, if you will, is the lottery scam. For those not familiar with it, at one time it was the international lottery scam. You know, the Irish sweepstakes or some sweepstakes overseas that you never even you never even entered, and you're the grand prize winner. Now, a lot of scammers are starting to use a familiar name. Publishers Clearinghouse. We're all familiar with Publishers Clearinghouse. And basically what they're doing is calling, telling people, oh my God, Mr. Dillman, this is John Jones from Publishers Clearinghouse. You're our grand prize winner. Millions and millions of dollars. Oh my God. And I didn't even enter your contest. And I'm your grand prize winner. I thought you guys brought the big checks to the house. Oh, we don't do that anymore, Mr. Dillman. And they get you all excited about the money, and then they go into how you need to be able to collect that money. How do I collect that money? I need to pay some upfront fees and taxes, $800, $1,000. But once I pay those upfront fees and taxes, they're gonna release those millions. And as most of us already know, that's the scam. Right? There are no millions. It's all about giving a little to get a lot in return. So we got to be careful with that. Anytime somebody wants us to pay, to send them money up front before they give us money, chances are it's a scam. So we got to be careful with that. On the flip side, another variation of this is maybe you're the multi-million-dollar winner, and all they need is all of your bank account information in order to deposit those millions. And I think we know where that's going. There's not going to be a deposit. There's going to be a withdrawal. So we got to be careful with the lottery scam. Loan. Pay up front for a loan. Somebody who has bad credit, but they need to do some major work to their house. They need to maybe put in new wiring, and they need to upgrade the house. They need to do major maybe $35,000 in upgrades to their home. But because they have bad credit, it's difficult for them to get a loan. But there's that one loan company out there willing to give them that loan. All they need to do is to pay that upfront fee, and again, they give a good story. Maybe in this case, because they're taking a chance on somebody who doesn't have good credit, maybe they want you to pay some upfront interest in this case. Again, maybe $800, $1,000, whatever they can get from the person. They might even fill out a contract. They send you a contract, or they email you one, and you sign it and send it back, and you send the money, and you never hear from them again. And you and how many other people are taken for thinking that you're going to get this loan that you paid money up front to get. So we got to be careful. Contracting is another biggie. Somebody approaches you. Maybe I'm out in my yard doing some yard work, and somebody pulls up, and in fact, this has actually happened maybe more than a couple times. Somebody pulls up in front of my house in a work truck, and it looks good. I mean, it looks official. There's a sign on the side of the truck. It says Joe's Contracting Service, and the rack in the back with the ladders on top and equipment and supplies. Guy gets out in work clothes, and he walks over, introduces himself. He's with Joe's Contracting Service, and maybe the story goes they're doing some work on a couple of your neighbors' homes a couple blocks over, and I'm just driving around looking to see if there's any other work that we can do. And oh, Mr. Dillman, it looks like you could use the same type of work done to your house. I'll tell you what, we bought extra supplies. We over purchased on the supplies, and I can give you a really, and we're already in the neighborhood, I can give you a really good deal on this job, especially since we already have the material. It's not going to cost much, and if you pay up front in cash, I can give you an even better deal. Oh my God, this is great. So we dicker a little bit, and we decide on a price. I run down to the ATM machine, I get the cash, I come back, we fill out a contract, he gets a copy, I get a copy, and he says we'll be back, we'll be out next week on Monday to start your job. Once we're done with these two jobs, Monday comes and they never show up, and you find out there is no Joe's Contracting Service. Again, it was all a scam. How to avoid a pay up front scam? You should never pay cash in order to claim a prize, receive a loan, or get work done to your home. Know who you are dealing with, right? Do your homework. Make sure that this is legitimate before we do anything, and avoid paying with a gift card or wire transfer. Another way of, someone instantly having access to those funds. With the contracting service, by the way, first of all, obviously, if we're looking for a contractor to do any work around our home, we ask around, we ask our neighbors, we find somebody local who's been in business for a while, we know is legit. Or what we can do is reach out to the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. The Pennsylvania Attorney General's office has a list of licensed, registered, basically legit contractors working in the Commonwealth that we can reach out to. How to avoid bank scams? Be careful about financial transactions with strangers. Do not give change from a check. Remember, you are responsible for all funds you deposit to your accounts. Moving on to imposter scams. And again, we're going to take a look at the top three: government representative scam, technology companies, and credit repair scams. What are common themes? They appear as trusted representatives. There's an immediate need to get something from you. We're going to take a look at the technology company first. I don't have a separate slide on that one, but very, very quickly, somebody reaches out to you. At one time, it was the Microsoft Office scam. Now it's tech support, right? Because we have more than Microsoft now. Apple and Google has their, so they're using a common term, tech support. And I think what they're trying to do is make you believe it's tech support with whoever supports your computing device. And I'm going to explain this one with an example again. Real life example. I'm on my computing device one day. Maybe this has happened to one of you as well. And all of a sudden, this box pops up on my screen, all in capital letters: alert! You have 8 viruses on your computer. Don't shut your computer down. Call tech support at this toll-free number. Oh my God. And of course, that should be the reaction, with the reaction they're looking for. I better call tech support for help, thinking that it's tech support with whoever supports my device. And that's the whole reason for doing that. What did I personally do, by the way? I did what they told me not to do. I shut my computing device down. I knew it was a scam. I shut the device down. And when I rebooted my device, there should be a box that pops up that asks if you'd like to return to the last screen that you were on. Obviously, you want to hit no on that because it's going to take you back to that box. But I did exactly what they told me not to do. Somebody falls for it, though. They reach out to tech support, and they talk to a tech representative, and, oh, yes, Mr. Dillman, don't worry. We can take care of that for you because we're tech support. For an upfront fee, you give this person access to your computing device, and they'll go in and take care of whatever needs to be taken. It doesn't have to be viruses. It could be something else. In my case, it was these 8 viruses that was supposedly on my device. So you give that person access to your computer. They go in. If you have the mouse with the arrow, there's my arrow up at the top. If you have the mouse with the arrow, you see your arrow going around without you doing, because they have control now of your device. They pull up this box, and in the box are those 8 viruses I was told about. And I see this person starting to click and eliminate these viruses from my device. It's a fake box with fake viruses. Best case scenario, they're charging you a fee for something they're really not doing. Worst case scenario, because they now have access to your computer, could they be in there stealing information off your computer? And or planting some malicious software that may allow them to go back into your computing device anytime they want to steal information without you knowing about it. So we really have to be careful. With the tech support, just like what we talked about with contractors, we get a message like that, or somebody reaches out to us by phone out of the blue saying that we have virus or something else wrong with our computer, and they're from tech support. What we don't want to do is work with somebody who reaches out to us online or over the phone. What we want to do is reach out to somebody local. Again, somebody local from the local community. Maybe ask for a referral. If we know we have something wrong with our device, ask around. Referrals from friends and neighbors. Maybe we take the device back to where we purchased it, and somebody there can take care of it for us. But that's what we do. And of course, it's nice to keep it local businesses, and then that way we're better off than talking talking to somebody through one of these toll-free numbers. All right, government representative scams. Signs of a government representative scam: pretends to be from a government agency, claims you'll be arrested if you do not comply, or something else will happen. Benefits will stop or whatever, and won't provide information in writing. So I think it may have all started with the IRS scam. For those of us familiar with the IRS scam, I get a phone call from the IRS, right? And Mr. Dillman, this is John Jones with the IRS. Mr. Dillman, I hate to tell you this, but you owe $5,000 in back taxes to the IRS. And because it's that old, you need to pay that to those back taxes today. If you don't pay those back taxes today, I'm going to have to send the police out to pick you up and take you to jail. Oh my God, how do I get that money to you? And of course, that's how it's supposed to work. First of all, I do a lot. I do in-person presentations as well as virtual presentations. And every time I ask this question, I get the same answer from the group. So I think we all know this. If any government agency needs to reach out to us, are they normally going to do it by phone or by mail? I think we all know the answer to that. They're going to reach out to us by mail. So somebody reaches out to us by telephone out of the blue, claiming, we owe something, or they need personal sensitive information from us. There was one with Social Security. A lot of times scammers will combine their tried and true scams with the latest emergency. And there was one with Social Security where they were reaching out, pretending to be from Social Security, to retirees. Hello, Mr. Dillman. John Jones, he gets around. This is John Jones with Social Security. Mr. Dillman, we're reaching out to all Social Security recipients, letting them know that due to the COVID virus and everything shutting down, all Social Security offices have shut down. Because of this, all checks have stopped. Oh my God, what do? I need my check. Well, that's why we're reaching out, Mr. Dillman, by telephone, making sure, letting people know that if they want their checks to continue coming, you're going to need to give us all of your information again, specifically me, all of your personal sensitive information, and I'm going to need to manually put it back into another system to guarantee that your checks continue coming. And again, that was the scam. It was all about getting that personal sensitive information from you to steal your identity. So we have to be careful. As we said, first, no government agency is going to call demanding something, and there's going to be some type of, either benefits are going to stop or you're going to be arrested. They're not going to do that. and most of the time they're normally not going to call us. They're going to send us a letter. With the IRS, from what I found out with the IRS, not only do they send a letter, but if you don't respond to the first letter, they send a second letter. And if you don't respond to the second letter, they send a third letter. So we gotta be careful with that. Information and you know, if they are demanding something, tell them that, hey, you normally send letters out. Send this to me. If I owe the IRS $5,000, send it to me in writing. I'll take a look at it. I'll respond to it, so on and so forth. So how do you avoid a government representative scam? Request proof of debt in writing. Never pay with a gift card or wire transfer, and tell the caller you'll call them back. And that's something else we can do. If you're not sure, gee, I wonder if that was the IRS. Maybe I am in trouble. Can I always reach out to the IRS with a verified phone number? Probably to confirm that it was a scam, but if you're not sure, reach out to that government agency with a verified phone number to confirm whether they called you or not. Finally, in this category, the credit repair scam. Signs of a credit repair scam: guarantees your credit will go up by a definite number of points, tells you to dispute all negative credit information, wants payment upfront before any services are given. First of all, if we're not checking our credit reports at least once a year, we need to be checking our credit reports at least once a year. One surefire way of knowing whether somebody has stolen our ID and is using it or not is by checking our credit report, because if somebody stole our ID and they're using it, it should be showing up on those credit reports. So I check my credit report, and over the last 2 months, there's activity on there that I didn't do. There was 2 credit cards open in my name that I didn't open. There was a loan taken out of my name that I didn't. There was a car purchased in my name. All this activity that isn't mine. What do I need to do? I need to reach out to those credit bureaus for 2 reasons. First of all, I let them know somebody stole my ID. They're opening new accounts in my name, blah, blah, blah. What they will do, what you can do, and what you should do, and they will do for you, is do a credit freeze on all of your accounts. It's free and it's easy. And then that way, no new accounts can be opened, no new activity can take place while those accounts are frozen. We can't even do anything, but that's okay. Most importantly, the person who stole our ID can't do anything. Also, by reaching out to them and telling them about this activity, what they'll do is that activity that you say is not yours, they will take off of your credit report and they'll do an investigation. It may take 3 or 4 months to complete, but they'll do an investigation to confirm that is not your activity. And if it isn't, those should permanently stay off of your credit report. How this scam works is, you know, you again, unsolicited email or text message, phone call from these companies that say they can help you increase your credit score, help you repair your credit score. What they get you to do, for an upfront fee, of course, is they get you to call those credit bureaus and dispute any negative activity on your credit report. And I'm sure they tell you that you dispute those activities, those things will be taken off your credit report. And once that happens, your credit score will go up, which it will happen. What they probably don't tell you is 3 to 4 months later, when they've confirmed that that is your debt, that is your negative activity, that it gets put right back onto your credit report and your score goes right back down. And you could be in trouble for that, because now you're kind of committing some type of fraud. And of course, they're long gone with your money. That's one thing. Now, the other thing is, you know, I was talking about this again earlier, is those companies, those legitimate companies out there that can help you increase your credit score. I looked into at least one that was advertising on television and confirmed what I already knew. They did little to nothing, and not only did for people they were working with, and not only did they charge them, but they charged them a monthly fee to monitor their accounts in case they found something to increase their score. Bottom line is, if I have bad credit, I have a bad credit score, and I want to improve that score, there's only one person who can do that for me, and that's me. We don't want to waste our money on these services that really won't do much of anything for you. If we need to repair our credit, we need to improve our credit score, we need to do it. How? By doing what we need to do in order to do that. You know, pay our debts on time, pay our debts down, do what we need to do to improve that score. How to avoid credit repair scams? There's no quick fixes for bad credit. If the debt is true, disputing it is fraud and can get you into trouble. Do not pay money for a service that does not really exist. How to avoid imposter scams? Governments will not call out of the blue demanding money. You are the only one that can repair your credit. It takes time. Tell the caller you'll call them back, then call them from a verified number. From a verified number. Moving on to investment fraud. Investment frauds promise low risks and high returns. The fraudster will try to convince you to invest your hard-earned money. They may even tell you that the investment is guaranteed not to lose value. And we're going to take a look at the top three: affinity fraud, promissory notes, and Ponzi schemes. Affinity fraud relies on trust and friendship within groups of people who have something in common, like church organizations, civic clubs, community groups, athletic organizations, book clubs, or whatever. Affinity fraud is very close to a sales technique. I used to be in sales and marketing, and there's this sales technique called mirroring. What is mirroring? We tend to trust people more who we think are like us. So this sales technique has the sales rep mimicking or mirroring what what their customer what their customer does, what their customer says, in order to appear more like them. And if they appear more like them, better chance that person is going to purchase from them. If I talk loud and I talk with my hands, and the person I'm dealing with talks down like this, talks low, all of a sudden I'm talking low. They use their hands a lot. I start using my hands a lot. I start talking about activities that we have in common, and that's the whole idea, is to look to be as much like that person as I can be, because they'll tend to trust me more, and they'll tend to buy more. Affinity fraud works the same way. I might have this great investment opportunity, this so-called great investment opportunity, and I come across a version of that mirroring technique. And one of the ways that we can do this is joining like groups, right? I join a church, I join a local church, and oh my God, not only am I the same religion as the rest of the people here, I'm the same denomination, automatically instant connection, right? Same group of people, same beliefs, and so on and so forth. I get to know everyone gets to know me. I have a lot in common with and I volunteer for things and different activities, and everyone gets to know George, and George is a great guy. Next thing you know, George has this great investment opportunity they just can't lose. And he's only going to let members of the church organization in on this. He gets a number of people to invest in this so-called great investment opportunity. Next thing you know, George is not around anymore. He's moving on to the next town, to the next victims, if you will, probably with a different name. So we got to be careful with affinity fraud. How to avoid affinity fraud? Do not invest based only on what your friend recommends. Get it in writing and verify it through the Securities and Exchange Commission. If this is a legitimate investment, it should be registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. If you do a little bit of research and you find out it is or isn't, especially if you find out if it isn't, big red flag. Chances are it's a scam. And remember, no investment is guaranteed. We can't, anytime we're investing money, we're taking a risk with our money, no matter what the investment is. And you have a so-called investor who has, in fact, there was a guy who had this great investment opportunity one time. He guaranteed a 15% rate of return, which is a high rate of return at little to no risk. Do you know who that person was? Gentleman we all know by the name of Bernie Madoff, and we know what happened there. A lot of people lost a lot of money, much of which they probably won't get back. But you can't guarantee anything. And the stock market does this. We know that. So we can't guarantee any returns. So big red flag if we hear guaranteed. Moving on to Ponzi schemes. Affinity fraud works a lot of times very closely with Ponzi schemes. A Ponzi scheme is an investment scam that promises high returns with no risks. Profits are paid to early investors from new investors because there's usually no actual business. Ponzi scheme started by Charles Ponzi in the early 1900s. That's where the name comes from, Charles Ponzi. And his investment opportunity actually started out as a legitimate investment opportunity that just got out of hand. He realized at some point he was not able to pay back the returns that he promised his investors, so he started paying back investors with new money that was coming in. And that's how the Ponzi scheme started. Bernie Madoff, who we talked about, largest, longest running Ponzi scheme ever. But I get a group of people to buy into this great investment opportunity that I have. And a lot of times those people become agents for us without knowing it, right? Oh my God, I got to tell my friends and family about this great investment opportunity. But I get people to invest in my scheme, and then as I have new investors investing, I start paying back the original investors with some of the new money coming in, keeping most of it for myself, of course. And then as I have new investors, and then I start paying. And a lot of times at some point these Ponzi schemes end up falling apart because they rely on new money coming in. If new investors eventually dry up, there's no new money to hand out, and they fall apart, and people realize they've been part of a scam and they've lost a lot of money. How to protect yourself: verify the investment. Again, if this is an actual investment, it should be registered with the SEC. Investigate the person selling the investment. They need to be licensed and registered as well. And if they're not, big red flag. If you don't understand it, don't buy it. Finally, promissory notes. A written promise to repay a defined amount of money at a certain time, basically an IOU with interest. It's basically a glorified IOU. An IOU with interest defined, which is defined in the contract that you sign. Real promissory notes are only offered to sophisticated, and not to say that the rest of us aren't sophisticated. When they talk about sophisticated investors, they're talking about the people with deep pockets. Okay, the Warren Buffetts and the Bill Gates, people who have millions to invest in these promissory notes, or institutional investors. Not the average person in the street, so to speak, the general public. So somebody comes to us as a member of the general, somebody comes to me offering me a promissory note, big red flag. I might be looking to invest 1,000 or a couple thousand, not millions, and I'm not an institution, if you will. And that's how to protect yourself. Real promissory notes are not normally sold to the general public. Verify the investment is registered on the SEC's data. Again, we need to verify that it's registered on the SEC's database. And you can reach out to us if you need help with that at 1-800-PA-BANKS. If it's not registered on the SEC's database, there's something wrong. The seller of the promissory note must be registered. Verify their registration at www.brokercheck.finra.org. And here is a snapshot of BrokerCheck. Brokercheck.finra.org. You can investigate a financial professional, somebody looking, an investor, somebody looking for you to invest, a financial professional. And if you don't find them on BrokerCheck, again, it could be a red flag, or the SEC's database. Investigate before you invest. Find out if they're registered and what they can or can't do. Gives you information about their previous work history. See if complaints have been filed or any actions have been taken against them. Again, www.brokercheck.finra.org. And finally, our last category, virtual scams. Involves any scam that uses the internet, electronic devices to persuade you to give up personally identifying or financial information. We're going to take a look at phishing emails, smishing with text messages, and fake websites. I get an email. In fact, I sent Mark an article on Andy Cohen, well-known personality on television. He got scammed by what he thought was his bank out of a lot of money. They didn't say the amount; they just said a lot of money. And so that's the example that I use, and it's one of the reasons I sent that article out. But I get a phone call one day, or I'm sorry, not a phone call. I get an email one day from my local bank. Maybe I get emails all the time from my local bank. Customer service at my local bank. Hello, Mr. Dillman. This is customer service at your bank. We're reaching out to all of our customers. We're reaching out to all of our customers. The bank is updating their information, their database, their information. We're reaching out to all of our customers. asking them to verify all their information so we make sure that we have up-to-date records in our system. We need you to hit the link below. That link will take you to another page where you can confirm all of your information for us. So I want to help my bank out. So I hit the link, I go to the page, and I confirm my name, my address, my telephone number, my social security number, my date of birth, my bank account numbers, my bank account information. How do I really know that I got that email from my local bank? It says it, and then I find out after I send in the information. Maybe I find out a couple days later it didn't come from my local bank. But wait a second, I get emails from my bank all the time. The name, the logo, everything was there like I would normally see. The email address, customer service at yourbank.com. In this day and age, it's very easy to copy and paste and Photoshop things and make it look like we got them from legitimate sources. Same thing with smishing with text messages. Maybe I get a text message from my bank. Or what has been popular over the last couple of years during the holiday season is you get a text message supposedly from FedEx, supposedly from Amazon or the U.S. Postal Service. Something happened with your last package. Please hit the link below. We need you to go to this page. We need all your information again. And you do it only to find out at a later point it didn't come from that entity, even though it looked like it did. So we have to be careful. By the way, in those two scenarios with the email and the text message, not only did we give information to somebody we really didn't want to give it to, but by hitting that link, we could also release and download, without knowing it, some malicious software to our computing device that we don't want to download. So we have to be careful. What can we do? Maybe one thing we can do is reach out to that company by phone. And we don't want to use the phone number that could be in the email or the text message we got. We know where that's going to go to. We want to reach out with a verified phone number to confirm whether they sent us this email or not. I reach out to my local bank with a verified number, or I reach out to FedEx with a verified number to confirm whether they sent us that message or not. Now, with the fake website, maybe that email from my local bank is redirecting me to their website, and that's where I need to go to give the information. I get redirected to their website, and just like the email, I go to their website all the time, the name, the logo, everything, the web address, and just like the email, in this day and age, very easy to copy and paste, Photoshop things, and fake a website, a web address, in the web address to make it look like you're actually at that website. Now, with the fake websites, what we can do, rather than hitting that link and going to the website, maybe we go directly to the website with the web address we have, so we know we're on that website. Other ways that we can do it, but we probably something else for another time. We have more time to discuss. How to protect yourself from virtual scams. Research all new websites. Be cautious when being directed to sites through social media or email. When reviewing an email or text, check grammar and spelling. Confirm sender before clicking any links or hitting any attachments or downloading apps. Just like those links, maybe I get an email from my local bank with an attachment. There's a document attached they want me to open and review and maybe sign or whatever. And again, without knowing it, it's a fake email. And that attachment, by opening that attachment, I could be downloading that malicious software or downloading the app. Maybe there's a new website, or maybe I get redirected to their website and they want me to download their app. And if it's a fake website, I could be downloading an app that I don't want to download. And I could be downloading that malicious software along with that app. Experts say that more than 1/3 of third-party apps that we download to our computing devices have malicious software attached to them. So we have to be careful. So and finally, there at the bottom, when in doubt, don't click it, delete it. How to avoid scams? Know how to spot imposters. Do not believe caller ID. They can fake numbers as well. Nowadays they can hijack. I get that call from that government agency, the IRS, and I look at my caller ID and it says it's the IRS or Social Security. Nowadays it's they're this thing called spoofing, where they can hijack an actual number or make it look like they're calling from a trusted source. So we even have to be careful with caller ID. We want to use caller ID, but we got to be careful as well. Be careful how you pay for your items. Talk to someone you trust. Call the Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities at 1-800-PA-BANKS. Other ways to protect yourself: beware of interactions with people you do not know. Guard your Social Security number and other personal information. Secure documents and shred them when you no longer need them. And we want to use at least a crosscut shredder. Makes it look like confetti. Watch your bank and credit statements, and check your credit reports at least once a year. All right, resources. Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. As I mentioned earlier, we regulate those industries in the Commonwealth. Banking, and when I say banking, I'm talking about banks, credit unions, trusts, banking, finances, securities, aka investments. If you ever have a question, a problem, an issue, a complaint, you can reach out to us through our toll-free number, 800-PA-BANKS or 800-722-2657. We have an in-house staff that will take phone calls Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, normal business hours. You call during those days and times, you should get a live voice answering the phone. If you don't get a live voice answering the phone, you leave a message and someone should get back to you within 24 business hours. Also, check us out on our website at dobbs.pa.gov. A lot of good information for consumers on our website under our Consumers tab. PA Attorney General's Office. If somebody did scam me or I did have my identity stolen, certainly we can reach out to them at attorneygeneral.gov. Also, check out their website. A lot of good information for consumers on the Attorney General's website. If I need to reach out to the local police department, I can go to, and I don't know how to do it, policelocator.com/PA. Again, if I had my identity stolen, reach out, or I've been scammed, I can reach out to them, report it. I want to file a report. Federal resources, the Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov/ID theft. If you want to report, you had your identity stolen, you want to report identity theft, through the Federal Trade Commission's website, ftc.gov/ID theft, or you can go directly to identitytheft.gov to report identity theft. Also, check out their website. A lot of good information on their website for consumers. We didn't talk about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, but again, a lot of good information there. And we can also report to them as well, consumerfinance.gov. And finally, we did talk about the Securities and Exchange Commission. You can go to investor.gov or you can go to sec.gov. And with that, here is my contact information for anybody who would like to reach out to me. And with that, Mark, I guess we can end the recording.